I used to be young once, and it's encouraging and energizing to be in such company. I think I would like to, though, mention that it's still the key ingredient is still old-fashioned sheer courage and bravery. There's no substitute for that. If you look at what happened in Bangladesh in July and early August of 2024, a mass awakening, a student-led uprising, at its core were young people who put their lives at risk, people who were not activists in the traditional sense of the word. I think of Abu Saeed, the gentleman, he just stood bare-chested in an iconic pose to be shot dead. And then you have a video of the policeman saying to his boss, I don't know what to do, sir. I shoot one and more come in my direction. They just do not go backwards. I'm thinking of Mr. Mir Mugdho. He's a freelancer. He was a university student. He has a 5-star rating on Fiverr. He used to do freelance software work. And he was just distributing water to the other protesters. And you see the video of the tear gas hitting him, and he's trying to wipe his eyes and asking who needs water. Shot dead. You should look up, if you can, a letter a school student, Anas, Shahriar Khan Anas, wrote to his mother saying, Mum, I'm sorry I cannot stay at home. I know you've asked me to stay, but I can't. They're killing my brothers and sisters. I may not be directly related to the cause, but I have to be out there. And if I don't return, please forgive me, but please also feel proud of what I've done. Anas did not return. All of these are documented, well documented. We invited the UN High Commission of Human Rights, Human Rights Watch, all other independent, the foreign media to come and just document what you see and write it down. Because we don't know, our perception may be contaminated. We may be misremembering things. But go and look up and read the documentation of these people. And I think you'll realize that that is the reason when we talk about a social movement, it is about emotion. And the emotion that courage can trigger is incredible. What started as a movement by a small group of people in a public university, the contagion effect of emotion, private universities joined in. Parents joined in the end. Diaspora joined in. So that is how a movement flares. So it's a little hard for me to stay intellectual on this topic, but that's basically the backdrop on which we find ourselves in. I am a member of an interim government. We're handing over to an elected government next month. Government-led, we're extremely fortunate to be led by Nobel Peace Laureate, Professor Muhammad Yunus. And he's taken a very deliberate, measured approach to the transition. And maybe I can talk a little bit about how we're responding. Don't want to take too much time. So my first message to governments around the world is, I know most of you are thinking of this topic as a risk issue. Oh my God, if I don't pay attention, how do I manage and control and contain this risk? And that is true. This is a risk that you ignore at your peril. But there's also an enormous positive opportunity here to harness the zeal and the zest and the energy that you mentioned, the commitment that people have into the day-to-day functioning of government, because that is what government should be about. And the core, the response, how should we respond? Again, going back to the old-fashioned tenets of good governance. What do we mean by that? Let me just number a few of those. First of all, we need to make sure laws and legislation, there are safeguards built into them so that the extremes and excesses of bad governance do not flare up. You don't have an elected government turning autocrat afterwards. So we have, as part of our reform measures, we've enacted ordinances and laws. For example, you can never shut down the internet again. Government can't do that. We have a police commission which puts a layer in between the Prime Minister and the Chief of Police so that it's not so easy to say shoot on sight. Or the police commission is an independent grievance mechanism where if the politicians ask the police to do something that's politically motivated, they have somewhere to go if they get fired or if there's reprisals against them. So a whole lot of independent judiciary, all the other distributed powers, we've packaged that into a referendum question, and it will be put to the vote next month alongside the parliamentary election. So that's number one, laws and regulations. Number two is the practice of transparency and accountability in the day-to-day functions of government. Many governments are afraid of information. They're afraid of creating a firestorm if I divulge too much information. The antidote to that is even more information. So accountability and really having almost corporate-style KPIs. Every ministry should be like a publicly listed company publishing their annual reports and develop a culture of information sharing in peacetime so that when there is a crisis, people don't start questioning the credibility of your information because you've contaminated your credibility earlier on. So that's important.